so I'm quite tight around my shoulder area.
And search for something deeper to be a fan of. As for me, it's on to the next one. As always, anyone, anytime, any place. I mean, here's the thing. I think that, you know, I don't know if it's true what they...
Will this help him? Will these secret weapons, will these things he was trying to keep quiet, will they help?
Frank Warren confirms Anthony Joshua is being thoroughly examined to see if he's fit to box. If he's not well enough, he obviously won't fight. The uncertainty shows just how serious the injury is, and the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight can't happen until he's fully ready.
And we're determining whether he's going to be fit to box. If he's not well enough, then obviously he won't fight, but we don't know what the outcome is yet.
Eddie Hearn is clearly frustrated with Anthony Joshua's stubbornness, pointing out that Anthony Joshua doesn't fully understand what the boxing business means to his team. Hearn emphasizes that this isn't something they take lightly and that Anthony Joshua's actions have created serious problems for everyone involved.
Stubborn and you know, he doesn't understand what the business means to us. So, you know, again, this is not something that we do often, but we're not fucking around.
Johnny Nelson points out that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight cancellation demands immediate scrutiny. He stresses that the news of Anthony Joshua's injury broke suddenly, leaving fans and insiders shocked. Nelson emphasizes the seriousness of the situation and that Anthony Joshua's team must be fully transparent about what went wrong for the sport to retain credibility.
Unfortunately, there is going to be there needs to be an inquiry straight after this. Why, what? But that's what I'm hearing. The news is as fresh to me as it is you. I'm quite sure when this goes out, it'll be all over the place.
Tom Little highlights that Anthony Joshua's capability is unquestionable, but this sudden cancellation has created uncertainty. He hints that while Anthony Joshua has the skills and power, the real test will be his recovery and readiness to face Jake Paul once cleared. Little's comments underline the drama and tension surrounding Anthony Joshua's fitness and the fight's future.
If he's a real, I'm not saying he can't fight, I'm not saying he's rubbish, I'm not saying he's useless, but we will see how good he is. And if I'm right in what I'm saying, he'll quit.
Eddie Hearn expresses disbelief at Anthony Joshua pulling out, calling it ludicrous considering the massive investments from Netflix and MVP. He makes it clear that Anthony Joshua's injury has far-reaching consequences beyond the ring, affecting business deals and fan expectations. Hearn's frustration underscores the tension between Anthony Joshua's health and the commercial pressures of boxing.
We don't know, but that's really, really rattled him for him to think of and plan doing something like that.
Yeah, because we see things happen.
Frank Warren compares the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul cancellation to a car crash that everyone watches in shock. He emphasizes that Anthony Joshua's situation has created a spectacle, with fans eager to know if he can recover and still compete. Warren points out that the drama surrounding Anthony Joshua's injury and the canceled fight has captured global attention, leaving the boxing world buzzing with speculation.
Do it or not, this is a car crash. And people will watch it because that's what people do at car crashes. That's what this is.
Johnny Nelson admits disappointment over the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight cancellation and highlights the confusion surrounding the announcement. He compares the situation to Conor Benn's breaking news chaos, where details shifted constantly. Nelson emphasizes that Anthony Joshua's injury was kept secret, leaving fans and insiders scrambling for clarity. The commentary underlines the urgent need for transparency from Anthony Joshua and his team to maintain trust in boxing and restore confidence that the sport is handled professionally and fairly.
Don't matter what drugs you take, it doesn't make you a better fighter. It might make you stronger, it might make you fit. It doesn't make you a better fighter. That's proof. You know, so until more news.
Conor Benn praises Anthony Joshua's dedication, acknowledging that taking on Jake Paul was never mandatory for him. He highlights Anthony Joshua as a hero of British boxing with proven punching power, showing respect for his career achievements. Benn's comments reinforce the notion that Anthony Joshua operates on a higher level than Jake Paul, and that this cancellation does not diminish his legacy. The focus is on Anthony Joshua's professionalism and skill, which contrasts sharply with the controversy surrounding Jake Paul's readiness and legitimacy as a heavyweight opponent.
He's a grafter, he works hard, he ain't got to do it. He's taking on the hero of British boxing. He's the guy who's done it all, a massive puncher. you got to take your hat off to him.
Chael Sonnen criticizes Jake Paul's approach, stating that nobody initially took him seriously and that previous controversies like the Feldman decision exposed his limitations. He contrasts this with Anthony Joshua, who has consistently fought top-level heavyweights and proven his dominance. The commentary emphasizes that Anthony Joshua is on a completely different plane, highlighting the mismatch in experience and legitimacy. Sonnen's observations underline why the fight cancellation does not tarnish Anthony Joshua's reputation, but instead exposes Jake Paul's struggles when facing true professional competition.
Problem that Paul ran into is when Feldman turned in a ridiculous decision, which is where Paul should have left it.
Chael Sonnen highlights the massive size advantage Anthony Joshua had over Jake Paul, noting that such a discrepancy rarely occurs in Anthony Joshua's career. He suggests that if the fight had proceeded, Anthony Joshua could have completely dominated using both skill and power. The commentary reinforces the perception that Anthony Joshua is far above Jake Paul in every way, and the cancellation due to injury only delays the inevitable outcome. Sonnen's insight paints a picture of Anthony Joshua as a strategic and threatening force, capable of dismantling less experienced opponents like Jake Paul.
Size discrepancy. Joshua's never enjoyed the size benefit like he has going into the fight with Jake Paul. And the only thing about it that could be real or look real or sound real is if he goes out and he plans and he threatens and he does the best of his ability.
Carl Frosch points out that Anthony Joshua's punching power and experience make him a real threat to any opponent, while Jake Paul has never faced a true heavyweight. He emphasizes that Jake Paul's losses to cruiserweights like Tommy Fury expose his lack of credibility at the top level. Frosch's comments underline why the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight cancellation is a relief for boxing fans, showing that Anthony Joshua operates on an entirely higher tier. The focus remains on Anthony Joshua's legitimacy, professionalism, and dominance compared to Jake Paul's limited experience.
AJ's a big punching heavyweight, and fake Paul's never been in with a heavyweight. Like I said earlier, he lost to Tommy Fury, a cruiserweight. He lost to him. Tommy Fury's not even British level. So you can't chuck fake Paul in with Anthony Joshua and take it serious.
Sam Jones stresses the danger Jake Paul would face in the ring with Anthony Joshua, comparing it to how Joshua brutally handled Francis Ngannou. While he acknowledges the need to avoid permanent injury, the focus is on Anthony Joshua's devastating power. The commentary illustrates that Jake Paul is stepping into a scenario far beyond his experience. Anthony Joshua's skill and strength are unmatched, showing why any matchup would heavily favor him. The analysis reinforces that the cancellation was necessary and underscores Anthony Joshua's reputation as a knockout artist capable of ending fights decisively against untested opponents like Jake Paul.
Listen, we can all joke, but nobody wants any permanent damage to happen to Jake Paul. But if Anthony Joshua hits Jake Paul with the right hand he hit Francis Ngannou with, he could brown bread him.
Johnny Nelson criticizes Jake Paul for overestimating himself against Anthony Joshua, pointing out that the former two-title heavyweight champion fights to win decisively, not play around. Nelson emphasizes that Anthony Joshua's approach is about knocking opponents out, highlighting the absurdity of Jake Paul believing he can compete on that level. The commentary portrays Jake Paul as a showman relying on hype, while Anthony Joshua embodies true championship skill. This analysis demonstrates the mismatch in experience, strategy, and power, making the fight cancellation a smart decision and protecting Anthony Joshua's reputation while exposing Jake Paul's limitations in the heavyweight division.
Because Jake Paul is crazy. If he thinks he can get it with Anthony Joshua, former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, and play tiddlywinks, I don't think AJ plays touch. He plays knock.
Tommy Fury underscores Anthony Joshua's overwhelming superiority over Jake Paul, even jokingly suggesting Joshua could win regardless of injury. The commentary highlights the massive gap in skill, strength, and experience, showing how unrealistic Jake Paul's challenge would have been. Anthony Joshua's dominance is reinforced, portraying him as nearly invincible against underprepared opponents. Tommy Fury's perspective supports the narrative that the fight cancellation preserves safety while maintaining Anthony Joshua's legendary legendary status. The focus is on showcasing Joshua's credibility, punching power, and professional experience in contrast to Jake Paul's lack of readiness and serious ring skills.
But if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute.
Simon Jordan calls Jake Paul's ambition to fight Anthony Joshua absurd, reinforcing that Joshua is a legitimate two-time heavyweight champion. He acknowledges Joshua's previous setback against Daniel Dubois, but stresses that Anthony Joshua is physically capable and mentally resilient. The commentary emphasizes the huge disparity in professionalism and experience, highlighting why any fight would heavily favor Anthony Joshua. Jake Paul's challenge is portrayed as unrealistic, and the cancellation due to Joshua's injury is framed as a necessary measure to protect both fighters while maintaining Anthony Joshua's elite status and authority in the heavyweight division.
Not his financial welfare, but Jake Paul going into a fight with Anthony Joshua, to me, is absurd. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a legitimate two-time heavyweight champion of the world. He may have got destroyed by Daniel Dubois, but notwithstanding, there's nothing physically wrong with Anthony Joshua that he can't execute. Mentally, he might be in a little bit of a difficult position after the
cancellation of the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight has sent shockwaves through the boxing world, and the reasoning behind it is now crystal clear. Anthony Joshua and his team were hiding a critical injury, and once the truth came out, the fight could not go ahead. Experts like Johnny Nelson, Sam Jones, Tommy Fury, and Simon Jordan have all highlighted the absurdity of Jake Paul believing he could compete with a former two-time heavyweight champion. Anthony Joshua's power, experience, and skill are on another level, proven time and again in fights against the likes of Francis Ngannou and Daniel Dubois. This wasn't just a matchup, it would have been a masterclass from Anthony Joshua, exposing Jake Paul's lack of preparation and ring IQ. The cancellation protects both the fighters and the integrity of the sport. Do you think Jake Paul could ever survive Anthony Joshua's punches? Comment your thoughts below and join the debate now.